with healthy mental and physical health. Thank you for being here, my guys, my gals, my non binary pals. Let's do some drawing. Alright, so we're just going to warm up a little bit. We're working on a smaller sketchbook today. I have filled up so many of those large sketchbooks that we are now using a smaller sketchbook. But same thing. Trying to focus more on my line quality and the the motion of my arms, how fun that might feel. Okay, I could be done with that. Let's keep going. Something like that. Oh, how are you? Have you been making art? What have you been up to? How is your life? How are things? You know, sometimes I like them like that, just like right out the gate. Like, don't put too much work into it. Just like two passes like that, I think looks pretty good, honestly. But so let's keep going. Oh, we're trying a different. We probably should have started a little earlier, but it's raining. I was hungry. So here we are. I wonder what is happening with the world tonight. What's today? Today is Wednesday, Thursday. Well, we'll just draw for a little while and see what happens. Alright, how fast can we get this done? Pretty close. Something like that. And put the little highlight in his eyes. Yeah, that's pretty good. Where is our, let's see, eraser here, give us some more. Using this eraser kind of like white chalk. Like that. What do we think? Hey, what's up? What's up, Evil? Is that what they call you, Evil? I think that's our first drawing of the evening. That took us a total of 3 minutes and 39 seconds. Yeah, I think. Let me pull the chat up on my preview screen here. Pop out the chat. What's up, Mando? Thank you, Evil. Mando, are you are you artist? Thanks for subbing. I appreciate it. Let's do another one. Mando, are you an artist? Usually we do a little bit bigger of a sketchbook, but I just filled up like 4 huge sketchbooks back to back. So we're working on about a quarter a size. Drawings still work, but details are slightly different. All right, let's do another one. Y'all ready? Yeah, be sure and like the stream as well if you can. This is what I look like. What's up, Mando Evil? If you be sure and like the stream right here. When you sub the page, get some more people hanging out in the community. Let's do another one. Y'all ready? Two-handed drawings. All right. Tell me in the chat when you see a face. Something like that maybe is a good start. Okay. Something like that. Something like that. There we go. Just try not to control the drawing too much and kind of let it kind of control itself a little bit. How was that? What's up, Storm Chaser Pro? Thanks for subbing. Be sure and like the stream too. Get some more people in here hanging out with us. Yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm not trying to like focus on whether the drawing is good or bad. Like I'm trying to like actively focus on like just having fun, on the line quality, kind of focus on the materials. Instinct that we all have is to like as soon as you start to draw or write or create, be an artist or just a human in any way, you have that little voice in the back of your head that says that you're not drawing well enough, or that song isn't good enough, or you're not good enough. And if you listen to that voice every step of the way, you can never get through a drawing, you know? And, and if you listen to the voice and you still complete your drawing, you end up with realistic drawings. And I think realistic drawings are wonderful. But if you want to create art without stress, I'm looking for my eraser. Instead of like listening to that voice in your head that says, that's not the perfect line, or you're not drawing it well, or you're not writing well. And that little voice in your head, it'll start like as soon as you start drawing. But what I've tried to do and what I would encourage you to do is like practice to ignore that voice. You know, when that voice tells you that line's not perfect, or, you know, that word you're writing doesn't work great for the story, or the song you're writing, this isn't perfect, or whatever it is. And sometimes you can just tell that voice in the back of your head, like, hey, just take a back seat. This isn't that serious. I'm just scribbling on a sheet of paper, you know? And like, I think that takes some practice, like learning how to kind of quiet that voice in your mind that constantly is trying to edit, you know? Kind of just like try to, you know, and mostly when you're creating art in this particular fashion, and this isn't true for every piece of art, but this particular style, you want to focus on not creating the perfect, most realistic picture. It's not important to put everything in the right place. You know, I always say that it's like a signature. When you've learned to write your name in a certain way, it's not stressful or exhausting, or it's not any work to like do your signature. And when somebody asks you to do your signature, it's almost like exciting. Like, I can't wait to do my signature for someone. And I think when you're drawing, instead of focusing on like what you're drawing all the time, if you focus on like the direction of the lines and how much you enjoy writing those lines, and just like a signature, you can write lines that nobody else can write except for you. And if you focus on that and you start trying to draw expressive lines, and you start to not fix your mistakes, and you just let the quote unquote mistakes stack up, you end up with an expressive piece of art that only you could have done, you know? You teach me how to draw a face after you're done? Well, that's what I'm doing. Storm Chaser, are you an artist? Do you chase storms? All right, let's do another one. Y'all ready? Thanks for subbing, by the way. Y'all appreciate that. Megan! You missed me, bro? Well, that's very sweet of you to say. A little bit. Well, you're too young. You should get off the internet. Let's go. All right, here we go. How old do you have to be on YouTube? Let me ask you that. There we go. Something like this. See, and again, I'm not trying to concern myself overly with if I'm drawing everything correctly. You know, I'm just doing my signature lines. I'm just trying to have fun and express myself, you know? However old my parents say. Well, I guess that's true. And my little brother is like 4 and he watches YouTube. Well, that's too young to watch YouTube. Get a job. Well, I will tell you this. You kids might be too young, but I bet you get agitated or you get angry or sometimes maybe you get punished or you get in trouble or you get frustrated. You know, maybe you have some kind of situation with your little brother or your parents or your sister. And next time you end up in one of those situations where you're very frustrated, don't like lash out at your family. Don't lash out at your siblings or don't even lash out at yourself. Like next time you're in one of those frustrated positions, like you just want to scream, go scribble a picture. And you'd be surprised that you can go scribble a picture of nothing. You know, you could just do some nice abstract scribbles, smudge them around, use an eraser, just kind of create some kind of abstract face. And you'd be amazed at how you can transform that negative feeling into something positive really fast. But also get off the internet. Go read a book. Be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel though, and like the stream. But also like get off the internet. Go draw some pictures. You know, go play with your puppies. I don't know, but actually, you know, if you got to be on the internet, watching someone draw, it's got to be better than half of the crap they got out there, huh? Can't imagine. When I put these streams on, they're crazy. Oh yeah, Storm Chaser Pro, you got me there. Busted. I am the internet. I guess you're right. But if that's the case, maybe you're also the internet as well, because over here to me, you are the internet. But you're right, you know, if you gotta be, you're smart. You might be a kid, but you're smart. You could be well, then hang out here. This is probably the best place for you to be on the internet. And you tell your parents that I said you were too young to be on the internet. Thank you. Megan, did you request the dragon last time? Was that you who requested it? Would you like to request another drawing this time? I've had a lot of compliments on the dragon. Hey y'all, be sure you've liked the stream. Alright. Let's look at some scribbles. Let's look at some scribbles. What do you think? Is there something there? Is it just a bunch of scribbles or is there a face? That's called pareidolia. All right, let's keep going. Megan says, and then at the end of the year, my art teacher is giving us our drawings. She said, at the end of the year, my art teacher is going to give us our drawings. I don't know why she just doesn't give us right there, but I've been making dragon, which I've already done. Oh, very cool, Megan. Also, like, you youngins need to get off the internet, number one. Number two, you need to quit telling people how old you are on the internet as well. I don't think that's good either. So that's a tip from Uncle Gabriel. Stop telling people your age on the internet. It's always like really young people or like middle-aged people come in and just be like, this is my age and this is how I feel. But you kids, you gotta stop doing that. That's bad etiquette. All right, here we go. All right, I don't even know what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna try to do maybe like a slightly different pattern-ish, you know? See what kind of comes out of it. Okay, alright, what do we think? Okay. Again, I'm trying not to overly focus on what we're doing here and kind of just hyper focus on just the little areas and moving my pencil in a way that's like the most possible fun for me to move a pencil, you know? Instead, I kind of think of it like a signature. You know, you're not trying to draw a picture when you write your signature. You like move the pencil around in a way that only you could possibly move a pencil, you know? And as you write your signature 1,000 times, it starts to be like second nature to you. Like the way you draw those lines. And I try to get there with my drawings where it's like I'm really just like the whole picture is kind of feels like the lines of a signature. You know, does that make sense? Why do you have two live streams? Well, we've got the horizontal stream and we've got the vertical stream, Storm Chaser. Some people like the vertical streams, some people like the horizontal streams. Which one do you like better? Apparently you like the vertical stream. I've actually got 3 streams. We've also got a stream going on Twitch. We're on Twitch and we're on YouTube. And we're on YouTube Shorts. But you could do me a favor and go like and comment and subscribe on all of those pages. That would be cool. So I'm just using that paper towel to smear around. Looks like Santa Claus. Alright, so just using an eraser here, and I'm using the eraser kind of like it's like white charcoal, you know, like white paint. But what I'm really doing is just kind of erasing, you know? I mean, I'm not kind of erasing. I'm just erasing. You know, but it kind of looks or feels or works like You know, like a white piece of charcoal or some white paint might work. You know. Alright, so I'm just trying to like bring out some highlights where I think there might be some highlights. Then I might go to a different kind of eraser. Still just an eraser though. And let's kind of just imply what we're doing already. Some bigger lines. When I mean imply what we're doing already, like I see lines that I kind of like that are working, and maybe I'll just kind of mimic those lines that I like. You know, again with the eraser. The eraser starts to feel, like I said, kind of like a piece of charcoal. You know. Let's bring up some contrast here, maybe like in the nostrils, where her lips meet, and then the pupils. Whether you're making a painting or a drawing or a song or you're writing, anything that you're creating with humans as the audience, I guess it could just be with anything as the audience, honestly. The high contrast area is always where their attention's gonna go first. So in a drawing or any kind of piece of art, I'm gonna put the highest contrast in her eyes here. Put like a white light against a really dark charcoal, kind of force the audience to look here. And her eyes are gonna really give it some life. Put the most contrast here, the nose and the mouth, and it kind of forces you to kind of look there. You know? It does not look like Santa Claus now. Well, that's the cool thing about like kind of expressive drawings is that every person might see something a little bit different. You know, there's no like definitive choice of like this is exactly what the drawing is or how the drawing should be or how you should see it. It's up to your interpretation. Like I express myself through the art, but everybody might see the different lines as different things, you know. I think that's kind of the fun of this type of art. It's like seeing things in the clouds. You know, on a cloudy day, it's not, nobody's right or wrong, or it's not the clouds that are the artist, but like it's a little bit of the audience kind of looking at the drawing and making your decisions on what you think is happening, you know? Y'all want me to keep doing faces, or do y'all want to do something else? Anybody want to make a request? Okay. All right, so what is it? 23. Okay, we'll do a little couple more drawings. Let's try some other stuff and see what happens here. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, all right. Okay. Again, I'm working hard not to judge myself, not to tell myself, oh, you're doing a bad job, or that's not the right place, or whatever kind of judgment that I can give to myself. I'm trying to refrain from any of that and spend my time just kind of drawing. And then when I'm done drawing, I can come back and decide whether I like it or not. I mean, you've got so much time in the world to come back and judge your art. I would encourage you that while you're making your art to try to have fun and spend some focus having fun. You know, can anybody tell what that is yet? uh, Hi, Megan. Kitty man, I hear you, buddy, but I'm streaming in the middle of drawing, and you've had 3 cans of food today. You can't have. You're not even supposed to have 3 cans of food. Look at the stream. Are you embarrassed? You can't even look at him. Look at him. Yes. Yes, it is someone on a horse. Thank you. Thank you for figuring that out. Okay, something like that. And then this one's here. Alright, so maybe we have a hand here. And this is a crazy way I do my hands. Now let's just see, he's got like a lasso thing here. Okay. Let's give this horse a little bit of love here too. Something like that, right? What do we think? Alright, and then let's add some shadows here. Something like that. Something like that. And I'm still just like I'm actively disregarding the notes that my brain is saying, that's not the right place, that's not exactly how this is. And I'm just keep reminding myself that now is not the time to judge. Let's just get the work done. And then when I'm done with the work, I'll decide whether I've made the right decisions or not. And you know, this isn't the right direction for all kinds of art, but just this specific style, and it's totally valid as any other style. But when you create, you can learn to give yourself some grace and some room to kind of try stuff and make mistakes. Still be proud of yourself and still end up with some really beautiful artwork. And I think sometimes we can learn a lesson from that carries on into our life. Where like you can learn that sometimes you don't always have to control the situation. You don't always have to know where you're going. You know, you don't always have to strive to make the most realistic thing or make the best decision. Sometimes, you know, just existing and the art existing is as important as anything. Drop both of the heads, it's pretty easy to tell it. As soon as you drop both of the heads, I can tell what it is. Thanks, Megan. Well, you know, maybe, but that also says something about like your imagination, you know? You know, some of it is happening in your mind and not just on the paper. I will remind you. You know, yes, I'm drawing, but also it takes a viewer to kind of look at scribbles on a sheet of paper and see something. You know, think about it like this. Megan, when you see a picture in the clouds, and I'm sure maybe you've heard me say this before, who is that artist? Who is the person that makes the image in the clouds when you see an image in the clouds? You know, who drew that picture in the clouds, you know? So I'm just finding some highlights here, and even if like I'm looking at my drawing and I can see maybe some of these highlights are in the wrong spots and areas, but I'm not going to concern myself with it. I'm just going to keep moving forward. And my main goal here is to draw lines, do highlights, move the pencil around in a way that is fun and fulfilling to my heart and my hand and my mind, and try to actively not get mad or frustrated at the drawing and just move forward, just keep moving, you know? And then when I'm done, we can decide whether we like it or not, you know? I don't think that's something we have to decide right now. I think we can figure that out later. And I think that's important in life. Sometimes you end up in situations in life where maybe you don't have all the control, or you're not exactly sure how the day's going to end up, or whatever the situation is. And sometimes by just scribbling on a sheet of paper like this, and really understanding that none of these lines really matter. What really matters is you staying in there. You continue to move forward, and your lines get better. The artwork gets better, and each of these individual lines, they don't really matter. You know, it's the accumulation of expressiveness. It's the accumulation of 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 me sticking to it, and moving forward, that creates the art. And I think we can learn a lesson in life, that it's not always about doing the right thing right out the gate, or being the perfect person, or it's just about being you consistently. And I think like the world is a better place just because you're in it. It would be such a boring world without you. And I think you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do anything amazing. You just need to be you. And I think art is the same way. And you just need to let art be itself. Just kind of like sometimes it's good for you to just be you. And I think you can learn those kind of lessons from drawing. Sit in a room and draw, and learn little lessons about life that can carry over into other parts of your life. I think art's important in that way. What's up, Hanner? Trying to go along and make it exist. You can make it good later. Yeah, you're right, Hanner. Just keep it here. Keep it in the world. As long as it's there, you can fix it, But if it's not there, you can't fix it. But you're right, Hanner. Are you an artist, Hanner? Be sure and like and subscribe. Also, I think not just in art, but like that's true in life, and just life in general. Like you just need to exist, and you can become a better artist and a better person every day. It's not even, you don't have to be the perfect person. Just get better at being a person every day. Just like you want to get better at being an artist every day. The world's better just because art exists. Just like the world's better because you exist. And I think you're right, Hanner. Just show up and exist. Let the art exist. Let yourself exist. Let the world exist. And I think the world is a better place just by showing up and being in it, Yeah, nothing has to be perfect. Perfect is not a real thing, Perfect is just a word. But like nothing has ever been perfect in the history of the world. So why would you ask that of yourself? Nothing's perfect except for this mustache. Super inspiring. You love this piece. Thanks, Hanner. Be sure and subscribe. I'd love to see you at some more of these chats. Tell me, Hanner, what kind of art do you make? But you gotta go outside. Awesome stash. I love charcoal, but I'm sticking with digital art right now. I do digital art too. I'm not against digital art. Digital art is awesome. All art is awesome. Not just visual art. Music, writing, film, all of those things. Art is great. Art is the coolest thing that humans have ever come up with. So Hanner, tell me about some of your art. What kind of stuff do you do? Check this out. We're going to do a two-handed portrait again. Do y'all like these two-handed drawings? Or are you too used to them now? It's not impressive? People be like, wow, two-handed drawings are amazing. And then after I draw a bunch of them, they're like, yeah, you've done 1,000 of them. Good enough. What do you think? I could just be like, that's done. I'm finished. Right? Could that just be a finished face? You stick mostly to drawing people? Two-handed will never get old. Thanks, Hannah. He's funny. You think I'm funny? Thanks, Megan. Can you draw with two hands, Hannah? I guess it's tough digitally, huh? There's no really way to do that. You know, you could do it too. It just took a little bit of practice. And also, like, the style of, like, teaching yourself to not judge too much on the lines you put down and allowing yourself to just kind of draw whatever lines come out of your hands, then it really doesn't matter if one hand is dominant or not. You can just, it doesn't really matter. The whole drawing is so sloppy, you know? You've never tried? Megan says she's done like 1,000 of them. That's just it. Very cool. Very cool. Have y'all been doing these are y'all on Discord, Megan, Hannah? I don't know if y'all do Discord. But y'all, Hannah, Megan, y'all be sure and subscribe to the page. Go check out some more of the other videos. If you don't mind liking some of the other videos, commenting on them. I've got videos on videos of me drawing that you probably would like. And it would help the page if you go like them and comment on them. I would appreciate that. And then next time I go live, come chat with me again. Oh, very cool, Hannah. Gonna share with your friend too? Thanks. All right, let's do the same thing. So we're just pulling out some highlights here. And I want to remind y'all again, I'm sure you've heard it, but Hannah, maybe you haven't heard it. You know, all your favorite artists, your favorite artists over the years, they're not just drawing pretty pictures. You know, it's not about having the best pretty picture. If that was the case, there would be no debate over artificial intelligence. But I want to remind you that when you're drawing, that you're expressing yourself. That if you've had a bad day, you've had some kind of conflict with school or life or your girlfriend or your teacher or your mom or your family or husband or your best friend. There's so many ways in life that we get mad or we have a bad day or we get conflicts, whatever it is. And I just want to remind you that at the heart of art is self-expression. And the whole reason that all these amazing artists create art is because it makes them feel better. So when you're having a bad day and you think nothing can get worse and you get mad at whoever you're having a conflict with, I want you to remember that you have this superpower where you can take the negative things in your life. You can take some of those things like a bad day, an argument, a bad grade, you know, a conflict with people, your loved ones. Sometimes we end up with conflicts within ourselves. You know, you might have a bad mental health day. You might be depressed or have anxiety. And I want to remind you that you can take that negative energy and all that negative conflict that builds up in your life and you can express it through a piece of art. So you could have a bad day and you could go home and you could draw a picture about that bad day, or you could write a poem about that bad day, or you could make a movie about that bad day. But the thing is that as a human, you get this superpower that when you have negative things in your life, you can transform those negative things into positive things through art. And it sounds funny, but it's think about it like this. If I'm having a bad day and I go sit down and I express myself through a piece of art, and when I'm done, I feel better. I feel in a positive light. I have a positive energy. Then I've literally taken negativity and I'm transforming it into positivity. And you know, sometimes people will see it, like you on chat or friends or family, they see the art and they start to say, hey, if this person can make art when they're feeling bad and turn it into positivity, I have permission to do the same thing, and you have permission to do the same thing. And before you know it, somebody else is having a bad day, and they're going to go draw a picture about their bad day. And they're going to do that because you gave them permission to. And I think sometimes we forget that's what art is. Art is the process. Art is taking the time to draw, to express yourself. And that when you have a bad day, you're not going to take it out on family members. You're not going to take it out on your community. You know, you're not going to take it out on your friends. You're not going to take it out on school. You're not going to take it out on the drywall. And don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Take it out on art. That's what art is. That's what art is for. That's why it's been here for as long as there's been human beings. Is because when humans have a bad day, they have this superpower. And it's just something that we forget, you know? And it doesn't even have to be negative energy. It could be any kind of energy. But if we're all out here taking negative energy and using our superpower to transform it into something positive, then one artist at a time, one piece of art at a time, like we can literally just make the world a better place. You know, you could take sad feelings and turn them into positive feelings just by scribbling on a sheet of paper. And the thing about that kind of art is that it's inspiring. And you can be inspiring too. You are that kind of artist. But you just have to start giving yourself permission to be expressive. You have to remember that when you have a bad day, that you have this superpower, and that you're not just working on pretty pictures, but you're working on expressing yourself in a healthy way so that you feel better. You know? And don't forget, no matter what's going on, you know, there's a ton of communities like this. You're not alone. You know, even if you're not an artist, maybe you'll become an artist. These are the drawings we've done on stream. But you're not alone. There's a bunch of communities. You can do this. You can be a great artist. You're a wonderful person. If you haven't heard it recently, I love you. I'm proud of you. You're a good person. And you're becoming a better person and a better artist every day. And I'm proud of you for doing that. So keep being you. Whatever way you are, the world is a better place because you're here and part of it. Don't forget that. The world is so much better just because you're here. And art's the same way. Take some time and just make some art exist. Express yourself. And give yourself some grace. You deserve it. You're a wonderful person. I'm proud of you. You want to see that dragon? All right. Let me go get the sketchbook. I'll show you the dragon. It's on the past streams, though. If you go look, I catalog all those streams on the live page. All right, I'm looking for the dragon drawing. All right, here you go. But don't forget, you're important. You're important to the world. You're important here. I'm glad you're here. You know, you're going to deal with conflicts in your life because life is all about conflicts. You know, that's what it is. That's what life is. That what art is. You got to go through the paces. You got to get better. You got to make bad drawings. You got to make good drawings. But you got to just keep doing you. You got to keep existing. I'm so glad that you're here. Please continue to be part of the world with us. You know, thinks, what's up? Good as ever, yeah. Hey, what's up, Shabito? Yes, I shaved my beard, Shibby. How have you been, dude? Welcome. Started learning to draw too. Hey, what's up, Shane? What kind of stuff do you draw, Shane? Sorry that I'm just seeing your chat here. Shibby, you still hanging out, dude? I'm sorry, I was in drawing mode. Shane, what kind of art are you doing? Shibby, you better not have disappeared on us. How's school? We're also streaming vertically. But Megan, Hanner, I'm gonna stop the vertical stream. But if you'd like to join us over on the horizontal stream, we will still be streaming there for a little while. Thanks for being here. Today is Thursday. I'll see you on Saturday. Bye, y'all.